The simplest way to put it, I have problems.
Well, I guess we're back for another episode. After last week, we're doing great. I went on the road. I was in Terlinga, Texas, the middle of nowhere. It is down by the border in the Big Bend National Park, basically sit between Big Bend National and Big Bend State.
Yeah.
In this desert town, just desert hippies out there. And we did a comedy show, Cody Myers and I, and it was insane because when I was up on stage, this guy tells Cody, I think Roderick's the first black guy that's ever been on that stage. Ever.
Making history.
Yeah. So they told us, like, I didn't realize it, but this dude wrote us. He wrote Cody and he wrote me, like, he found us and wrote us these really nice letters, man, and sent it to us. And they were just so amazing and encouraging. Yeah. But he told me, he said his favorite thing about it that was so surreal, it was that he was watching the first comedy show that ever took place here. He also was thinking that he was watching a bunch of white people that had no idea how to react to a black comic saying the stuff I was saying.
Yeah.
He said, but at the same time, he started thinking, I think this is the first black guy that's ever been on that stage.
Damn.
Ever. And I think they were established in like 1908.
Jeez.
It's been out there for a while.
Yeah.
So we were just like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah, I feel like you have to go out of your way to go that long.
Dude, Cody and I are on this weird kick. We, instead of fighting for stage time in Austin, we kind of got on this kick where we're just being cowboys.
Love it.
And we're just going anywhere. Yeah. They'll take a show. And so we blew into this town and they were in a drought. And this massive thunderstorm starts rolling in right before showtime. The power gets knocked out.
Ooh.
So I was like, is it just the theater and our cabins this side of town? I mean, no, the whole town is without power unless they have a generator. And this guy's in the audience and people were coming up and there's a storm coming in. People were still getting into the seats. They're going to watch it through the rainstorm. And they're setting up generators and putting up lights. They're going to do comedy under the stars in the rain. And it was insane.
Yeah.
It was super insane.
Good shows?
Oh, God, amazing shows, man. We're getting into this craziness. Like, everybody's catching us talking.
Yeah.
We should introduce everybody. Okay. Like, hi, it's me, Roderick, and I'm just telling this weird story about touring. But this is my boy, Jimmy Moynihan.
Yes.
And Jimmy, how you doing?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
super excited.
And you see we got a guest. The supermodel over here is Yola Lou. Okay. She's going to be on the show with us today. Yeah, but it was a fun show. But it was just kind of weird that we're just out here in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Telling jokes, and this guy comes up and goes, hey, I got a generator over at the Starlight Theater. You guys want to come here and do it? And we were like, we'll go wherever the producer wants to go. And they all picked up everything, drove to this. It's a ghost town.
Yeah.
5 minutes from where we were. You're officially in the ghost town of Terlinga. And we went in there, and there's this theater that's still working with a generator, and we did the show there.
It's incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Craziest comedy story, but we had such a blast.
Wait, so like the audience followed you guys?
Whole audience picked up and followed. Like it was like a convoy of just vehicles and cars that drove over there, and they packed that place out. And people were still showing up. So one person stayed at the old theater and told them, hey, everybody's going to the Starlight. And they were calling their friends, come to the Starlight. And it packed out.
That's so much fun.
Insane show.
Do they have a lot of comedy there?
No, we were the first comedy show they have ever had.
No way.
Yeah, and then we found out that the guy who was in, he was in the movie The Big Lebowski, and I can't remember what character he played, but Jimmy Gilmore.
Okay.
Jimmy Dale Gilmore, he lives there. So it was like this, like crazy, like the most insane desert hip. It felt like if Desert Man, like Burning Man, decided, hey, we're going to just make a whole city based off of Burning Man.
Right.
That's Terlinga. It is the most insane place you'll ever visit. We had a blast.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But at night, you could go outside and look up and see the Milky Way.
I've always wanted to go just to do that.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to tell you right now. This is the place you go, and they got these cute little cabins. I had a cabin.
Wow.
They gave Cody a cabin. I had my own cabin. And at night, he just walked out into his little yard, sat in a chair, looked
amazing.
up, and watched the Milky Way.
It's insane.
That's what it's all about, traveling like that.
The Rio, what is the Rio Bravo, the Rio Grande River? It ran next to it where we were at this house for the first night for a cookout. And they're like, yeah, that's Mexico right there. And I was like, you mean I could throw a rock and hit Mexico? They went, yeah, if you could throw a rock across this part of the river, and this is the narrow part. You could walk across it. It's dry. And we looked down there, and there was a little bit of water, and they were like, yeah, man. I was like, no, I don't have a passport to explain why I'm walking back out of Mexico. I'm going to just stay on this side.
Yeah.
I think I'm the right brown to get back into the country, but I don't want to
I
test
hope
it
so.
either. We'll let this go.
The second you walk over.
Yeah, it was weird times. Yola, how you been? You hear about my craziness?
I have been really good. I have just been prepping for the Edinburgh Fringe coming up. It's kind of crazy because my publicist that I hired for the Fringe she passed away on Wednesday. And it was, I don't know. So my first reaction when I heard this, I kind of laughed because when we were interviewing for publicists, I met my publicist and she was very old, like so old. And I told my director, I was like, I don't know about working with her because she's I just want somebody who maybe is younger and has maybe more spunk and like is going to chase after things and like really go for some stuff. And then my director was like, don't be ageist. Like you have no idea what she's capable of. And if she and also she's maybe the only person we could afford. And so I was like, okay, fine. And then would you know it? She dies.
Man.
And I was just like, this is why I didn't want to.
I wouldn't even know how to act about that.
I felt weird. I was just like, everybody I
told you
told
so.
started laughing. And then I was just like,
I was trying not to laugh. I mean, it's really sad, but I mean,
at the same time, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
That is straight
but
comedy right there.
she was in her 80s and she was pretty. And they said she died unexpectedly, but I was like, I think she died in her sleep from what I heard. And I don't know if it was super unexpected, maybe because she didn't have like underlying health issues.
Right.
Yeah, but man, once you get that many years, if I get 80 in, I'm ready to go.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm
Not
53.
that I thought you were 80.
I'm 79. I'm 53, but but see, I also, all my grandfathers, like my grandfather was 101 when he passed. Wow. 101, 102.
Dang.
Those dudes lived long lives. He was still mowing his yard up until his 80s.
Wow.
He mowed his own yard and he didn't get a cane or a walking assistance until he was 90 something. And
Pretty
then he
good.
told me, I'm getting old and I need some help walking around. I said, bro, you've been old.
Yeah.
Don't play with me about getting. You've been in the game of old for a while. But he was in his 90s before he needed help walking.
That's the best
crazy.
case scenario. When
Yeah.
we were like still kicking, because I don't want to be old and like, not
agree.
being able to do anything.
I'm the age my grandmother was when she took her first ski lesson in Vail.
Okay.
Dang.
So I'm like,
So you got to start skiing soon.
this is the year. I got to pick it up. I got to go to Vail to take my first ski lesson. I'm behind. But yeah, the old people in my family live a long time. That's why I'm like, I got to get my shit together. Because I can't be that guy. I don't want to be that old.
No.
No, that's not going to be cool.
Well, I don't think I knew you were 53, but you look freaking incredible for
You're very
like,
kind.
no,
You're
seriously.
very, very kind.
I would have thought you were like in your early 40s or something.
I appreciate you, and this is why you and I are going to Jerry. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, no, but you know, everybody said, black don't crack. Cody's always saying that to me.
Yeah.
No, bro, it does.
Well,
You just don't hear my knees in the morning.
I mean, they say the same, like Asian don't raisin, and
Yeah.
but it's, until you get to like all of a sudden you're 70 and then you immediately look like you're 70.
Right.
Yeah, you know what, you're right about
Yeah.
that. Because my homegirl is like, she looks great. She looks younger than me, and she's in her 50s. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? What is your skin regimen? And but she's Vietnamese, so she just won't age.
Yeah.
I didn't even know she was close to my age. I thought she was in her 30s. So
I want that. I'm starting to get auditions for mom roles all the time now, and I'm just like, oh, this sucks.
no. Well, that's kind of hot too. Okay, America's in Tamil, so hey, that might be working in your favor, girl.
Yeah,
Okay.
moms are in. these days.
Rock those rolls.
Are they?
Yeah.
So okay, let's get into, because you are leaving to go to Fringe, and you're leaving here at the end of this month.
Yep.
Let's talk about the show.
Yeah.
How does that even come about? I heard the name. You can.
Yeah. Okay. So the show is kind of a long time coming that I've been, not that I've been working on it for a long time, but it's, I started working on it in October of last year after I had a abnormal pap smear, and then it came back that I had HPV and like precancerous cells on my cervix. And then that was when I hit my limit, and I was just like, my vagina's literally trying to kill me at this point. And then, so my show is actually broken up into 3 different parts, all of which my vagina has tried killing me. So the first segment of my show is actually about my herpes diagnosis. And that's something a lot of people don't know that I have, except for like a very close group of friends and also anybody that I've been dating or, you know, in a physical relationship with or something. And that's when I will, you know, disclose to them. But most of the time I've had it for 10 years, and it's been something that has brought me very deep shame because of the stigma that's associated with herpes most of the time. And, you know, being in comedy also, you hear other comedians talk about it and making it like, well, at least it's not herpes, or, you know, making it the punchline of jokes all the time. And it just made it really hard to ever really openly talk about it. And the way it relates to like my vagina trying to kill me is not because like herpes like kills people. It's because I got it when I was 22 years old from my 3rd ever boyfriend, and found out he was basically cheating on me the entire relationship. So he was bringing back home a lot of stuff. Man. So I was also very young and naive, and I just didn't know like what it was, because I could vividly remember now seeing like a sore on his penis, but I didn't like, I didn't connect that this could be something bad. I also was kind of afraid of him because he was like much older than me. It was not a great relationship. And then he pressured me to have sex anyway, and I just did it. And then literally maybe a few days after that, I had my first outbreak, and went to the doctor, and they literally took one look at it and was like, yeah, that's herpes. Like didn't even do any tests.
Right. They don't have to.
I mean, they're like, I mean, they did a swab eventually, but they were like, he took one look and was like, yeah, I could tell already that's herpes. And it was, I was pretty, fell into like a pretty deep depression after that, because I think when you're younger, and especially like having never really experienced like that much of a love life before, or like dating and everything, because I was, you know, just 22. I really felt like nobody was ever gonna date me again. Nobody was ever gonna, be in love with me or want to have a family with me or anything like that. And, thank you.
I got you.
Thank you. So I really thought my life was over at that point. And I had a whole plan of taking my own life one night after being really depressed. And I started like heavily drinking that night to, you know, get the nerve to actually do it. And then I got into my car because my plan was I was going to plan was going to jump off the bridge near where he lived so I could make a point, because I'm petty like that, even in suicide. And
I respect that pettiness, but Jesus Christ.
Right, yeah. And I felt like, now thinking back on it, it was just like, wow, that's like super dangerous, being like driving while under the influence and not
because there's no guarantee you're going to make it to that
right.
bridge.
And also that I wasn't going to hurt somebody else or get, you know, like, and luckily nothing happened. And this is, I actually do a joke about this that people don't know comes from like the reasoning of it is because of like a herpes diagnosis. But this is like a real thing. You know how like some cars, they'll have like the built-in GPS in the vehicles. And I was using that to try to get to the Tacoma Bridge because this was back in Washington. And it all like I was driving and it just started rerouting me over and over again. And I never was able to make it to the bridge because I didn't know how to get there by myself. And my GPS just like kept malfunctioning the whole time. And like it went on for probably about 40 minutes. And then I just got so frustrated. I gave up on the idea of killing myself because I was just, I was tired and I was a little drunk and I was just like, this is too much work. And I ended up, and the punchline of the joke was like, I should have used Google Maps instead. And to do because it's more reliable
wonderful,
and
wonderful
Apple Maps
commercial.
saved your life.
right, exactly. And then, but that's like a true story of why I like got thwarted of killing myself. But I say like that's the reason why my vagina tried to kill me. Because of this, and it's been. I talk a lot about like my dating experiences in the show also because that is a really big part of it. I think honestly the worst thing about like having herpes is the stigma that comes with it because I've had it for 10 years. That one outbreak I had when I went to the doctor has been the only outbreak I've ever had. And I was also married for 8 years and or in a relationship for 8 years and married and everything. I've never passed it to any of my partners ever before. And you do that, with a lot of very honest, open communication. Like if I was feeling sick or if I was ever to have an outbreak, we just wouldn't ever have sex. Even if I feel weird, I'm just like, I think, maybe something's coming. Like I don't want to, pass anything on.
Yeah,
so
just be safe. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I'm always like very cautious and very vocal to my partners, like if I'm feeling a certain way. And I've just never passed it to anybody. And to the point, like I sometimes like forget I even have it, but then, it's incurable. So you do always have it. But I've had doctors tell me, if I haven't had an outbreak in like 10 years, then I'm probably never going to have another outbreak again, which is like very rare. It's not not very rare. I'm lucky. I'm just lucky because I know people who like have outbreaks every few months and stuff like that. And so I'm very lucky in the sense that it might be very repressed in me or something. But it's still when you tell people you have herpes, especially if you're trying to date them and stuff, like they still have a certain reaction and have a certain feeling about it. And they see you as dirty or like there is this implication that you got it because you were a slut that slept around and you deserved it or something. And there's just like all this, like the negative connotations that come with it and stuff. And being around like some dating websites and stuff and seeing how people react to hearing about other people having herpes is, people will be like, don't ever sleep with him. This guy has like, I'm in like, are we dating the same guy in San Antonio and Austin groups and stuff? It's like for women to post like men to see if they are
I'm very familiar with those.
Oh,
groups.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just joined recently. Not because I wanted to. Somebody just added me to the group, but it's been very fun reading through everybody's
You aware of
gossip.
this, Jimmy?
I am aware of
Yeah,
those.
women do. Yeah, look.
Yeah.
I got some homegirls that have told me some horror stories and they've showed me some stuff, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I never post anything in there because everything in there gets leaked, screenshotted to the guy and stuff. Even though like I've had a few guys that I've dated show up on the sites and I'm just like, don't fucking date this guy. But I'm like too afraid to say anything because I'm afraid it'll get back to the guy. And I'm actually very weirdly still friends with almost like everybody I've ever slept with or my exes and everything, which drives my current boyfriend, like current partner crazy. Like they're like, why are you?
I don't fight with any of them. There are two that hate me.
Yeah.
Everybody else I'm still friendly with, so I get that.
The only person I don't talk to is the guy who gave me herpes, and that's literally
Understandably
it.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the only guy that I wish will like fall off a cliff, because I know quite a few of his like ex-girlfriends that dated him after me. Like they would message me because they ended up being so emotionally abused by him and they wanted to get like comfort from me or something.
Jeez.
Which was like a weird thing.
Yeah.
But
They wanted
like,
to start a survivors group. That's what they're trying to do.
I had like 2 women come to me and was like, did you experience this with him when you were dating him and stuff? And like, and they like, he never told them that he had herpes, and I'm pretty positive he's still going around pretending he doesn't have it. And like, because when I went to go get diagnosed with it, he refused to go to the doctor and he would just take my medication without seeing anybody. And then because he didn't want it on his record and stuff. And like, so now if he ever gets like caught with it or something, he could say like, I didn't know I had it and stuff, you know, like this kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And he is a local Seattle headliner, like a comedian there. Yeah, he was just like really awful. And I don't think people understand how awful he is. And yeah, so.
If you I know you would never out him on the show, and I would never ask you to. I'm just saying, if his name happens to end up on the napkin after the show, what happens at that point. Okay,
right. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No,
but he's just terrible, just actively terrible person.
Very, very bad guy, and he like would get into fights with people all that. Like if somebody looked him wrong or something, he was like this. He tried to be this like big macho man, and would just like go absolutely ape shit on like he always was resorted to violence for everything, and was also kind of very violent around me as well. Like never hit me, but would like throw things very violently, very close to my head, like many times, like, and he was like very terrifying to be around. And so I just like didn't want anything to do with him after a while. I mean, like I still am part of like the Seattle scenes and stuff like that. And I don't see him get booked that much anymore. So I was like, fuck yeah. Like, cause he was one of those, kind of like a Tacoma, like the Tacoma, South Seattle comedians and stuff.
Right.
And he was this white guy that tried to act black all the time, and was like, and he thought it was okay for him to do that because he grew up around a lot of black people. And yeah, just and I think he was a Purple Heart like or something that like.
So he was a veteran?
Yeah, he was a veteran, but I think I heard that he lied about his like status or something. Man. And then he was also like dishonorably discharged, which he never.
He had stolen valor too.
Yes. That's the word. Yeah. And then so this is all what I, of course, hear after, like we broke up and stuff. But I don't know if it's like fully true or not. But it's just been something that's been also whispered in the community and stuff.
This is so crazy because before you got here, Jimmy and I just sit out by the bar and we just talk. A lot of times we're just catching up and talking about stuff. And we just talked about a guy in this area. He's in the Central Texas area. That's a comedian. And Will Williams was out there, and we were talking about, that dude beats all the women he's with. Like he has beat 2 women. He beat one girl so bad she quit comedy.
What?
He beat this other girl who we were talking about that was a friend of Will Williams and I. He beat her and like broke her the bone near her eye. Like
does he still do comedy?
Yeah, he's still very active doing comedy. But as soon as we found out, like I don't ever go out of my way to like, I'm not going to crap on somebody's career. But as soon as I knew it was him, and look, bro, you're going to see this episode. I know you're going to see this episode, and I want you to know. I told everybody who you were. I sent them your Instagram. I sent them your Facebook picture. And I told them, hey, look, if you book this dude, that's cool. I'm just not going to do the show.
Yeah.
Now, who do you want to be your headliner? And we don't work together.
Yeah.
He's never been on any show I've been on. Now, there was one time they almost booked me on a show with him, but I couldn't do the show. And then I found out he was on it. And I was like, oh, y'all were trying to be slick. Just didn't work out. But no, I don't. I wouldn't. He's the only person I will say I didn't go out of my way to cram on him. There's a lot of female producers in this town.
Mm-hmm.
In Austin. So if I tell a female producer, this dude here is not a good dude, and you may not be safe with him, then guess what she's going to do? She's going to tell every other female producer, and that's how the word gets spread.
Of course.
And I noticed
I'm in a lot of groups, and
he don't headline Austin. I've never seen him headline one show in Austin.
Wow.
But I told a bunch of producers. I told husband, wife, team producer. I told a bunch of people like that dude.
Yeah.
You can book it. And look, there's a lot of people in there seeing that. There are really good people here. And then there's bad people. And that's in every point of life. But this dude, I was like, no, that guy, I can't work with him.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
I refuse.
I didn't even know. I didn't recognize his name. So I guess he's
big
you've
in the
never
scene.
Yeah.
You will never see this dude within Austin City limits.
Right, yeah.
I've never seen him booked anywhere. And I look for it. I personally follow his page just to see who books it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to stay on here. And he knows I'm that guy. And he probably has said, oh, y'all can't. Bro, I can prove it. And if you ever want to challenge, and I want him to challenge me on it.
Yeah.
I'm not no woman. And I have another friend of mine who's a comedian. I'll give you a name. My bud, Junebug Ulabari out of Killeen won't work with the guy. And he's always saying, I ain't no woman. You want to come put your hands on me? We can talk about this.
Yeah.
He's always challenging him to throw down. But, my boy was just like, I'm not going to work with him, and I'm not going to let my friends work with him. So I get it. That's what I'm saying. If that name ever showed up on what happened happens after that.
Yeah.
But that's our thing. I don't think a lot of times we don't call out all the evil jerks in our scene.
Right.
We should police them more, but
I know it would be too hard. I feel like
for you, and especially I'll say not only for you, but for most female comics, if they're the ones that were in a relationship with him and he's already been this unhinged, and he's already thrown stuff, he's just saying, I have no problem doing something violent toward a woman.
Yeah,
and he's wanting to fight dudes all the time, so he's already got some anger management issues.
Yeah. I also, he also has had like previous women he's dated like go and get restraining orders against him, and because they also claim abuse and everything, and which he is like, that's a total lie, that's not true. And I was like, you have so many of like, what is who do you believe? And I know some people probably do make up some of this stuff, but it's just like, man, when you have like 2 or 3 women coming forward and saying the same stuff, like, it's kind of it's a pretty big red flag.
That's why it was crazy when people were defending Cosby, because like, it was like 50, how many? Like, the 40s or 50s.
They exist. Those dudes are in the scene.
Yeah, no, he's awful. I'll tell you his name after the show, but I don't try to. I'm not like friends with him on Facebook anymore. I don't follow him. I try to just like not do anything.
Just shut the door on that whole chapter of my life. I don't need him anywhere
but
near
it has been hard, like writing all this material and then bringing back like a lot of past trauma from this as well. And like part 2 of the show is about my miscarriage that I had when I was pregnant, and it was like kind of, I actually like I didn't have any friends that have ever like verbally openly said they've had like a miscarriage before. And so I felt like I was like the only person in my friend group that has ever had a miscarriage. And I always thought it was just like you get your period while you're pregnant and then it's like, oh no, we lost the baby or something. And it ended up being like, so I had the miscarriage after I hit the second trimester, and that's usually when you're allowed to, like, they tell you like, oh, that's when you can publicly announce it because you're out of like the danger zone of like having a chance of getting a miscarriage or something. And then so the day that we were actually going to announce the pregnancy I started getting like the worst cramps. And it like felt worse than menstrual cramps. I didn't know what it was. And it hurt so bad. I ended up running to the bathroom and just blood started dripping.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, the most painful pain I've ever felt in my life, because you're basically going through premature labor at this point, and which I did not know is what happened. And because I'm an idiot, and I basically violently expelled everything inside of me onto the bathroom floor. And I don't think I've ever screamed that loud in my life, to the point that my dogs actually broke through the door because they were like, oh my gosh, mom's in danger. And then my husband came running in, and it was just like, and it was just this like very horrible scene where I'm just like sobbing on the floor, surrounded by blood and fluids and everything. And having just gone through one of like the most painful things, because it's so sudden and so fast. It's not like this like slower process. It was like there was no stopping it and nothing you could do to make it feel any better. And I just like had no idea that that's what happened. And the timing was also just like really weird, because like literally we were going to announce the pregnancy like maybe a few hours later and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, because it happened around like 5 a.m. And then we were probably going to, and it's crazy because I had just gotten cast as the lead in my first feature film ever. And I was hiding my pregnancy from most of the crew because I didn't want people to like worry about me and stuff. And then I literally, after the miscarriage, I went and cried, and then I had to get back on set, and I didn't tell anybody that I had just gone through a miscarriage. And I was like wearing a huge pad because I was just bleeding. I was like bleeding through my costumes and everything.
Wow.
And it just like, it was probably, it felt really lonely the whole time because I like couldn't tell anybody about it and nobody knew I was pregnant. And so it was just like, it felt like I was all alone in this miscarriage by myself. And like my ex-husband was so happy about the baby, and because he's always like dreamed of being a father. And he totally like changed after I lost the baby. Like he started drinking heavily. He fell into a really deep depression and stuff. And then we just but for some reason we like never brought up the miscarriage because it was just like too painful to talk about and like too vulnerable at the time to share with him. And so it was just like this thing like I like kept to myself for a really long time until I kind of started talking about it on stage, like publicly. And then it started feeling a little bit better, and I wasn't as like embarrassed about like people finding out I had a miscarriage and stuff. And, you know, that was like part 2 of how my vagina tried killing me. And then of course, then there's like the HPV stuff that happened, the precancerous cells. And that was also an awful experience because I had grade 2 cells, which were precancerous. And then when they actually removed my cells doing something called a LEAP procedure, it's when they take a hot metal wire and they shave off the parts of your cervix that have the cells. And then they found out, because there's 3 different grades of cells, and if you have grade 3, it's a very high possibility of turning into full-blown cervical cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And so they found out that they got it wrong the first time. I didn't have grade 2, I had grade 3 cells. And then so it ended up being really good. I did the procedure.
When you did.
And, and I was just like, this is absolutely insane. And I will say, after doing the procedure, like they got everything, and I actually don't have HPV anymore. Like my results came back normal. Wow. I just found this out like a few weeks ago, actually. And so that was that was very cool because it was like finally there was like a glimmer of like hope and stuff. But it was literally after finding out I had like grade 3 cells and all this stuff. I was just like, wow, my vagina, like, what did I do? Like to get my vagina so mad at me and stuff. And is it because I let gross men fuck me sometimes and I deserve this, or like I don't treat it with respect and like,
what blows me away about I think the thing that I can't get out of my mind is like when you went through the miscarriage and you were like, I was embarrassed because I'm the only one that went through it. We just talked about that with depression last week about how when you realize you have depression, you think, I'm the only person that feels like this.
Right.
And everybody else is normal. And the thing was that you and the guy had both lost this and y'all were the ones that y'all couldn't even console each other.
Right.
That broke my heart. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I think talking about it on stage is going to help a lot of people for sure. Just not feel alone like the way you did when it happened. Yeah.
Right. Because I think like people are like, embarrassed to talk. Like that's how I felt afterwards because it was kind of like this embarrassment of not being able to like make it through a pregnancy. And am I not enough of a woman to be able to maintain a pregnancy throughout the whole thing. And I know there's like plenty of people who go through it and stuff, but like now hearing about it, after you have gone through it, you start like hearing when people do talk about it a little bit more and it just like catches your ear.
Yeah.
And I did have like a friend recently, she like kind of, when she immediately found out she was pregnant, she like told everybody. Yeah. And she ended up having a miscarriage like a few weeks after that. And and she also she was like, I don't want to talk to anybody about it because I think there's just like so much shame that you feel when something like this happens, because you also think it's like your fault. And there was so much self-blame that I had after the miscarriage. Like I was just like, should I have said no to this movie? Should I have not I was also doing all these other shows and I was just like, should I have not done any of these shows?
You're starting to second guess every decision
you
made.
And then is like thinking like all of this was like my fault and I was the one who like lost this baby for me and my husband, and it was his dream to have this and stuff, and it was just like really hard to kind of get through. And it wasn't until I finally got the courage to even start talking about this in therapy that my therapist gave me an assignment and challenged me to tell my husband that I was still sad about the miscarriage and that I wanted a hug. And so when I told him that I was still sad about the miscarriage, he actually immediately broke down crying and said that he was still feeling the same way too. And then after that, like it just like felt a lot better that we were able to like be there for each other.
Yeah.
And I am like really happy to say like after our divorce, he waited around probably for another year and a half for me to like maybe change my mind about the divorce and stuff. And then finally he ended up dating this old coworker of his, and I was kind of heartbroken because we're still like on really good terms and we're friends and everything. And he was telling me, he was like, she can't get pregnant though. She's told that she like can't get pregnant. And I like my heart hurt so much for him because I was just like, but you want to be a dad so bad. And so it actually ended up being that she was told forever she couldn't have children, and she ended up getting pregnant with my ex-husband, and it was like this miracle baby.
Wow.
And like baby is super healthy. He's like so beautiful and everything. And it was like really great that he finally got his biggest wish to come true and stuff.
I never once thought about how women may perceive that, that they may have been, I failed at this when they had a miscarriage, and I got to call my ex-wife. Because we went through, I have 7. And I talked about, I have 7 kids, but we went through, we went through one where we know she miscarried, and she didn't even tell me.
Really?
I was touring. And so when I came home one day, she's like, I got to tell you something.
Wow.
And she had went through it by herself.
Oh.
Because she didn't tell me. She thought she was pregnant, but she didn't want to tell me because she's like, he's touring, things are going well.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up miscarrying. She went through it by herself. So when I came home, it was almost 2-3 months later before she sat me down and told me. And then I had to grieve.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take a break from touring.
Right.
Because now I want to grieve, and I'm going to be with her. She's now grieving for me. And I'm like, what? You don't grieve for me. You grieve by yourself and didn't tell me. So
yeah,
I get it, though. But I never once thought that may have been playing in her head, that was what she was thinking.
Yeah.
So that's rough.
So therapy was kind of the turning point for that then, when you were able to just start mentioning it.
Yeah,
and
because
talking about it. And
yeah, because I was like also very embarrassed to like bring it up in therapy too. Like I just felt so uncomfortable talking about it. And it was like the first time therapy felt like it worked for me.
Right.
Because like, I mean, it's been working. Like I do mostly talk therapy and stuff, but this was like, I really liked my old therapist where she like actually gave me assignments to do and like challenges to be like, you should try this.
I like that.
Yeah. So it was like, and then it was also, I also kept because I wear like this one dress in the movie that I was in, and I like cannot watch that movie at all because I'm like pregnant half of the movie, and then you could see like I knew exactly when I like didn't have the baby anymore.
Oh wow.
And stuff, and it was just like this really it's just been like a really hard movie to watch, and nobody knew I was like pregnant. And then I remember like doing this one scene that was like really emotional, and I had just lost the baby that day. And it was and people were like crying over my scene and stuff because they were like, wow, that was like the most like beautiful scene I've ever like seen. Like the cinematographer was like in tears and said that he's never seen like a performance that strong before and stuff. And it was really because I was like channeling this like real raw pain inside of me, and like hate that scene. And but it was like he thinks it's like one of the most like beautiful scenes, but it was just like, but there's like so much pain in there. So
that's remarkable. You're able to do that the same day. That's something else.
It was like it was really challenging, and I like did not want to be there at all. I just wanted to like be at home and just cry, honestly. And but there was like, we had a really tight deadline, and like the other lead actor had to like fly back out to LA and stuff in a few days, and I was just like, well, we can't like.
You're the second woman I've heard say that, because April Macy, amazing comedian, told that story. I got to work with her back in 2000 when she was here, 2021, and she told a story about that where she went through a miscarriage, and she was at the hotel room crying in bed and had to still go perform the show that night.
Oh my gosh.
And so she told people at the club what was going on, and they'd come get her, and they'd get her back to the club 30 minutes to showtime. She'd get to the green room. She'd go up, do her show. They'd run her right back to the hotel, and she did her whole weekend.
Wow.
With that pain. So that's why when I always say, I got 5 daughters, and I'll say this all the time, being around women in my family, women are way stronger than men.
Oh yeah.
Because I'd be broke down. We'd be done canceled stuff. But y'all would get up and be like, we got to get this done.
Yeah.
Y'all have an inner strength that dudes don't respect it at this age. But I'm like,
But I don't know if it's like now, looking back on it now, it's like, was that like the healthiest thing I could have done? Because it took me probably way longer to process the miscarriage, because I just kept pretending life was normal and like living it as if it didn't happen at all. And then I would have like moments of just weird triggers, and I would have to pull over on the side of the road, like sometimes because I just was uncontrollably would start crying. And because I had never dealt with what I went through and stuff, because I just kept pushing it down because of capitalism, I guess, like always feeling like you have to hustle and keep working, and you can't let
Isn't that
this
a cultural
like, hold
thing
you.
though?
Yeah.
A lot of us culturally,
Yeah.
I know a lot of minorities have this weird thing in their head about our culture, about where we have to hustle.
Yeah.
And and it's how did your parents even know you were going through any of this? When did you tell them?
They knew I had the miscarriage, and I told them maybe a few days after. So I didn't tell them immediately because I was also like pretty ashamed of telling my parents, because they were super excited to be grandparents and everything. And like my parents got super upset, like not at me, but at our like healthcare system, because they kept comparing it like, well, because I did go to the ER because I thought something was wrong. And I went to the ER at like 2 a.m. the same day of the miscarriage after filming. And they like heard a heartbeat, but they were like, it was very faint. And then I saw in the papers afterwards, they were like, potential miscarriage or something, like they put on the papers.
So they kind of thought this might happen.
Yeah. And they didn't tell me at all. And then my mom was like so mad, because she was like, why didn't they keep you overnight or something? But I, now knowing like what happens with a miscarriage, is like, honestly, what would they have done? Like they
all we're
it's not
gonna
like
do
they
is
could
keep you here until it happens.
Right.
Basically.
And then like, would they have tried pushing it back in? Like, what would they have done? Like nothing. So, but my mom was like, if this was in Taiwan, like they would have like kept you, and they would have actually taken care of you, even if you did go through it and stuff. And like, they wouldn't just like let you go right away. And so they were like, just really upset with how I guess got treated. But I'm not upset about it. Like there's really nothing they could have done anyway to stop this. So
Bro,
yeah,
that's rough.
Yeah.
You've been through it.
Yeah. My vagina hates me.
Yeah. No, man.
Yeah.
I'm not even friends with your vagina. I'm ready to fight that fool. I'm like, come on, fool. Let's talk about this shit. I mean, first time I saw you, I guess we were on that Fallout Theater. Derek Copswell booked us on a show together.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that show, and that was the first time I had ever worked with you, met you, and that was kind of when I got an idea. You were very open and vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Very funny, but very vulnerable about a lot of stuff. And I just kept going, oh, yeah, I can discuss these things. Because when I met her, I was just starting my therapy journey.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of weird for me to see somebody that was doing a very open, very honest, like, hey,
in front of a crowd.
I can talk about this stuff. And that's when I started talking about, well, let me talk about these divorces,
Yeah.
I'm still dabbling with talking about the depression sometimes. It's hard to talk about it some days. Other days, I can give you a hot 30 off the top.
Yeah.
But some days I'm like, yeah, but it's not so much me. It's like still that look on my mom's face.
But I think it's like so important for men to talk about depression, because I think it's so under discussed in our society.
Yeah.
Because you guys, like, men have this expectation to kind of be like, hold it all in, like all of your like these feelings and emotions, depression, like anger issues that happen. Like suicide rates for men are very high. And because I think a lot of the times like this, it's like this thing that they feel like they can't discuss. And I wonder what that number even looks like for like Black men.
Oh, it's crazy.
And
because in the Black community, we're not supposed to talk about it.
Right.
You're not supposed to show any signs of weakness in the Black community. So a lot of times when you're talking about depression and stuff like that, there's a weird look you can get from people in your own community when you talk about it. And I'm very open about, hey, look, I dealt with some things and I wanted to check out. And then I remember the first joke I ever wrote about it. It's like, I don't get why more Black men aren't suicidal if you're born in the South. You are in the South. Do you realize the pressure cooker you were in being black in like Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. I said, you're playing the hardest video game on the hardest saving with one save file.
Right.
And I'm like, how are there not more of us? But yeah, no, that's the thing. We're not supposed to be black. You can't show that weakness.
Yeah.
So I'm just one of those dudes. I'm like, well, I ain't trying to have sex with nobody. I'm weak here. I'm weak. Let's get this out here. So, but I think that was the most freeing thing was when I finally did say that.
That's awesome.
But also I get it, like that whole thing about you're trying to hold it in and there's this shame. You know, I think that's kept me quiet for a lot of years. Like I can't be breaking down and being weak. What are my boys gonna think? What are my kids, my wife gonna think?
Yeah.
I don't want that. So yeah, I get where that whole, if I just push it back, I'll deal with it later.
And it's actually, it's strength to be able to talk about it.
Yes.
It feels like it's weakness, but it's like one of the strongest things you could do is to talk about it.
100% agree with you on that.
And so insanely helpful, you know, to other people.
Well, you heard how far down the rabbit hole I went. I was plotting my whole death out.
And most people wouldn't know that about you. You're, you know, cheerful, happy. And,
I try to be.
Positive.
My thing is, I have this, it's a weird thought, but with my dad, when he died, he said this weird thing. He said, I don't want to die in the hospital room by myself. That was all he told us. He said that to all of his friends. He said that to the family. And this man had people who would drive down from Dallas to spend the night in that hospital room with him.
Wow.
And I always kind of followed that lead. Treat people the way you want to be treated. When I die, I want people to be able to go, my best friend died.
Yeah.
So that's how I treat people.
Yeah.
Damn, now I'm getting choked. But
That's beautiful.
But that's what you do. You treat people. I feel like if you do people like that, you put that kind of love and energy out, you get it back.
You get it back for sure.
At least it's working for me so far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, you know.
Yeah, if you don't love me back, you're a jerk.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a nice guy.
I'm amazing.
I'm a beautiful chocolate man to love. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those weird things. But man, for you to go through that and then you channeled all that into the show. And then you did a movie recently. What do I call it? A movie? A short film? What do I call it?
It's a short film.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about 17 minutes long. We originally filmed it as like a pilot, so it was like almost 30 minutes actually, and then we cut it down to 17. And but yeah, it's actually a little bit about this like whole journey. Like it talks about there's like a small part that talks about my miscarriage in there, and then also like the separation with my ex-husband is also in the movie as well. And then like there is, and then the whole movie is, it's kind of crazy because the whole movie is kind of about like me after my divorce meeting this guy that I thought was like the one. And I was so into him. And the real thing that happens in real life is that, you know, we are like thinking about getting intimate, and then I, you know, have to disclose to him about the herpes. And I really thought, because he was such a like an open person, I thought he was going to be okay with it. And he was like, absolutely not. I'm terrified of like STDs, like any STD. And this one is like the most terrifying to me. So I don't want to speak to you anymore. I don't want to sleep with you. I don't want, like, he just completely cut me off after that. And that was actually the first like revision of my script. And then, I think it was like my director or somebody was like, maybe like not put it that way. Like, I think it would be more powerful for you to be the one rejecting him. Right. So there was kind of this like alternate timeline of like what could have maybe happened. And, but in my solo show is like the real story of what really happened, where, you know, he rejects me and I just get completely heartbroken. So I kind of always joke that like I literally spent $50,000 on a short film because of getting my heart broken.
Well, you know, if you're going to make art, you might as well go big with it.
Right.
That's how you do it.
Exactly. So
you're like the most emo. You're like, I love emo music. That's probably why I love you, is because you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna make an emo film.
Yeah.
Okay. I watched that. Yeah. So we actually, is Patsy, right?
Yeah,
And now
Patsy.
you wrote this whole thing.
I wrote this whole thing. I helped produce it. I starred in it. And little fun fact, Patsy, the reason it's called Patsy is because Patsy was actually the name my husband and I wanted to give the baby. So
That's where the name came from.
so that's why that's why the name Patsy is what it is.
Wow.
So,
Okay, we got the clip right here.
Okay, is this centered? Is this straight?
It's perfectly off center if that's what you're going for.
No. Places, everyone, places.
What places? We didn't practice this.
Oh, just stand in a line under the banner.
Do you think Matt's a dry guy or an extra dry? Oh, Jazz, do we still have the vodka from that sex party?
Gender reveal party. Pat, you're way too in your head about this.
Nope, I have it perfectly in my mind. It will be very natural and normal.
Yeah, this looks natural and normal. Just posing in my home.
Fine, everyone come with me. Hi.
Hi.
Can I get you something to drink?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. I made a bomb-ass punch, but you're gonna need a ride home.
Okay, noted. You're not lying about this punch.
Listen, I just threw a bunch of shit in a pot.
She usually doesn't even look what she's pouring.
Oh, can I just say, Jasmine, you have an incredible house.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you.
Is this awkward if I ask, but do you rent? Do you buy?
I buy.
That's so cool. I mean, I've always wanted stairs like this. Whoa, that is a big...
Is it too much? It's too much, isn't it? It's okay. I could go take it down.
No. Just stay and eat. It's totally
Okay.
okay. It's really fun, actually. It's super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, eating. You should eat more.
I'm kind of full, so...
Oh, no.
No, whoa, no, it's really okay.
No,
No, please, actually, can you stop? Sorry. But,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry.
Ew, Pat. No. That's disgusting.
What?
Here, it's all good.
Matthew, another drink?
Please. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, how long have you been cooking this?
I just recently got...
Whoa.
I got you something.
Gosh, you didn't have to do that. What's the occasion?
Oh, just cause, you know.
Thank you.
You should open it.
Okay, wow. Oh, whoa, thank you. I've always wanted to go to Japan. So this is
cool.
very cool, bud.
I know. Turn to page 69. Nice.
Okay. Whoa.
Surprise! I got us 2 tickets to go to Japan for a week.
This is too nice of a gift. I can't accept this.
I mean, there are no refunds, so that would suck if you didn't want to go.
It's not that. It's just that.
Do you not like it?
No, it's not that. It's you know what? We can talk about this later. I have to use the little boy's room. Excuse me. Yeah. Down here.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Keep walking until you get it.
That's great.
What the fuck?
Wow. Amazing.
That's
So
a
good.
little snippet.
Super funny too.
Thank you.
I love when you're just waiting with the gift. You're just waiting for him to look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, everybody needs 2 girlfriends like that in your life, man.
Yeah.
Those are the homies that get you
Yeah.
Unwavering
up this.
These are
support.
based on like characters in my real friend group
Yes.
characters, and this scene like didn't happen like this because it's a very exaggerated
Yes.
thing of what happened. I wrote the scene based on like I did get him a present, but it was like it was very kind of early on in our like dating, and he was just like really weirded out by it, but it was like gifts for his dog. And but he thought it was really weird. And then so I thought like, okay, what can I do to heighten like this gift and make it and it is true, he always really wanted to go to Japan. So I thought like, oh, I'll throw this little thing in here. Yeah.
Is it wait? Okay, now I'm sitting because I have said, hey, that's too nice a gift. But I think all gifts are too nice for me sometimes.
Right.
But that's
I think
just
some people just have trouble accepting gifts because like a gift for a dog is not.
That seems so casual.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's cute. That's sweet.
Yeah, because he was like saying like, oh, my dog loves tennis balls or something. And then so I think it was our 4th or 5th date or something. We went on like 9 dates and then never slept together, like kissed twice.
If you give my dog a gift on that date, girl, you're sticking around. We got you sticking around. That makes no sense to not.
Yeah, he thought it was fucking weird, and it was like, yeah. So there's the rest of the movie. It's like it's just very like I don't think he's ever gonna watch this movie, and which is fine. But he does text me on the night of his birthday because we break up like immediately after this scene. Like, so there's like a breakup scene. And then in real life, he actually does text me maybe about 3 or 4 months later. And it was like on his birthday. And he was just like, and I put in the real text message that he sent me in the movie. And it was basically like, hi, I'm so, this is probably a bad idea, but if you are free, you should come over. And I, as an idiot, didn't realize like what he wanted. And then so I go over and he was just like, I wanted to sleep with you because, we never got to do that or something. And then so I was just like, holy shit. And then which I was super excited about because I was like, I get to see his dick. And then yeah. And then so
the realest shit any woman has ever said. Thank you.
Yeah. But I was like super excited, but then, I had to disclose to him. And yeah, that's when he was just like, oh my gosh, no. And it's funny because like when I had planned to actually disclose to him, I didn't know how to do it. So I wrote this like super thoughtful letter out to give to him, which I had never done before for anybody. And even incorporated some Hamilton the musical lyrics in it, but it was still very thoughtful and it wasn't cheesy. It was like,
no, that was super cheesy, bro.
No,
you doing Hamilton lyrics in there?
I was obsessed with Hamilton.
Like, I'm gonna say this like line from Luther Vandross in a song. I used to do that. Girl, this house ain't a home without you. I said that to a woman and she was like, oh my God. And I was like, girl, that's Luther Vandross.
You can't give that away.
But it was. I said the line to her.
Myself.
Yeah, but I didn't know that why he asked me to come over was because he wanted to have sex. So I didn't have time to print out my letter and bring it with me because I just ran to his house when he like asked me to come over. And so like I just didn't have my whole spiel planned out and everything. And then so it was just like it turned out bad.
So you were still kind of crazy about it when he called you.
I didn't stop like thinking about him. And I like obviously it really impacted me to the point that I made a movie about him. And he still like, even though he kind of like turned out to be like an asshole at the end and everything, because I didn't think he was like the type of person to like want a hookup or whatever either. And it was just kind of this like I was shocked and like I kept thinking like, oh, he's the one who got away and stuff because like we just seriously had like the best chemistry and he was also so different than anyone else I had ever dated before because he had like a job and like it was like the bar was set very low and stuff. Like literally when I met my ex-husband, like no like real shade on him, but he like had his mattress straight on the floor, and he was like he was like 35 when I met him, and like he just like didn't have his shit together. He was like still working at Jimmy John's for 8 years, and like was living in a house with like 6-7 different roommates and stuff. And it was just like, and that was almost like literally anybody I was like dating before. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you're a homeowner and like you have like a good paying job and like you have your own hobbies and all these like things. And it was just like kind of crazy for me that somebody like that would be interested in me, I guess.
Yeah, I get it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, but dudes, we will have our shit like all the way messed up and be happy.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm not gonna lie, in the 20s, that was me.
Well, you know what's funny is I was, as you were saying, like he's 35, had his mattress on the floor. I was like judging him, like, yeah, Jesus. And I remember I had an air mattress like 6 months ago. So, sure, all right.
He was like, I've upgraded. So, you can't judge me. That's old Jimmy.
Yeah. I did. I upgraded to a bed frame, so I'm feeling pretty good.
A lot
about
of
myself.
people don't like always have bed frames.
Yeah,
and it's
it's
a very mature. It's like
it's
a very
such a
grown-up
little
thing.
shift just to have that bed frame, and I have like that wooden post behind it. But boy, if
my gosh.
I feel like a man.
Look,
Yeah.
I was 27, I think is when it happened.
Yeah.
It's like 25, 27, somewhere in there. It's like, hey, like I started decorating my bathroom and had the decorator soaps and the towels matched. And I had, those are decorative towels and these are the hand towels.
Yeah.
So I was
These
at
are
age.
the cum towels.
Yeah, you know,
Gotta have a
Steve,
cum towel.
And then what happened was, I remember this girl came over one time to see my apartment, and she was like, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "No, you wouldn't be here if I was gay." And I said, "Why do you think I'm gay?" She said, "Well, who decorated your bathroom? Am I your side chick?" I went, "No, I decorated the bathroom." And then she saw my bedroom, and she said, "Who bought the sheets?" So I bought the sheets and I bought the comforter. What about the living room furniture? I did that. And she was like, "This is too well put together for a guy to have done it." And I went, "Who have you been sleeping?
Yeah.
What, like gorillas in the mist are you sleeping with, lady? That me having my shit together is weird to you." So
the fact that you have bath towels is like, what?
oh yeah, that threw her off. The bathroom potpourri and matching like decorative soaps in the bathroom. She was like, "Nope."
It's so the house you guys saw in that scene actually belonged to my ex-boyfriend, who I'm again still friends with. We were broken up at the time, and I was like, "Can I use your house to film?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And when so my entire cast and crew of 20 people go on set to his house, like all the women were like, "This is your ex-boyfriend?" Like, who decorated his house? Because they were like, it must have been his ex-wife. It must have been whatever. Like they could not believe or comprehend that he could do this himself and stuff. But I was like, no, I think he chose most of this himself because he didn't live here with his ex-wife, and they separated before he moved into this house. But they just were like, no. See, he either has a side chick or something.
I'll tell y'all a secret. I'm gonna share this with you, Jimmy. This is the upgrade too. My brother and I are both like this, and we both do our houses like this. And the reason we did it was because if a woman came over, I wanted her to hit the front door and automatically feel comfortable and go into nesting mode.
All right.
I wanted her to hit the front door and be like, "I don't want to leave." And I was like, "I don't want you to." Okay. So psychology told me, do this. She's going to get comfortable. Them shoes kick off. Mama might want to be here for a while.
Yeah.
If she stays here for a while,
Smart.
probably going to get to see her naked. So
yeah.
there's a psychology to this, guys. I'm telling you. So make a woman, she comes in that house and it's looking well put together. As long as you can explain you're not gay in there, she's not the side chick.
100%.
She's going to stick around.
Because like
No,
with my
that's
girlfriend, I had an air mattress, and that's what got me to.
She was the one
buy
that
it.
kind of motivated you. Got to
That was the motivation. I'm like, this is bad.
But you got a
trying to
good
have
woman
sex on
because
an
she
air
met you on an
mattress.
air mattress and stayed with you. You're
Pretty
like,
good.
she's a keeper.
That's huge.
Pretty
That's great.
She was like, I'm a keeper.
Yeah.
But I went right on Craigslist and bought a used mattress. Can I tell you something though? It was at a very nice. It was like a nice house, and it was barely used. It was Tempur-Pedic.
Probably their guest room.
Just a few cum stains. Wasn't bad at all.
It was in the guest room. That was their dungeon room. You were good.
I cleaned it.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
just
even
put one of those what is it? Those like mattress
mattress
protect
pads cover,
pads
That's
what I
and
did,
stuff.
yeah.
And then you
It's
never
fine.
receive.
Yeah, you got to put that on there anyway because I sweat too much through my
Yeah.
bed. So I was like, no, you got to catch sweat. I have to keep a very cold room.
Oh, I love a cold room.
Yeah, I got
Same.
to. So
Yeah.
I love that we all have an idea about this, but yeah, I live that. The
so
house has
funny.
to look put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm weird about. I like my car to smell good. The vent has those little Gain detergent things
Oh,
in the
those
vent.
good?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you get my car, it smells like clean laundry. And women always talk about it. They're all, oh my God, your car smells so amazing. And I say, yeah, I like it to smell like fresh laundry
Mhm.
because if somebody doesn't like fresh laundry, that's a sociopath. And
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to know, like, I hate the smell. Like, oh, this
Right.
day's ending. As soon as we get
Yep.
coffee in her, she got to go back home. So, she is a psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
So, yeah.
mildew and cigarettes. That's my scent.
I need this to smell like
Yeah.
Lone Star and abuse. No, ma'am. you
what
got to
I'm
go
used
get a guy at a El Camino. Get,
Yeah.
get out. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing all this with us, man. Like, when are we? Patsy's on the circuit though right now, right?
It's in the festival circuit right now, so it's still being submitted to a bunch of festivals. I'm like starting to get a little bit of traction for the festivals and stuff, and winning some awards for Best Actress.
You were up for a
too.
Best Actress
Yeah.
recently, weren't you?
Yeah, but there is actually another festival that's happening this Saturday, and it was already announced, like at least to me, that I won Best Actress for the entire festival.
Hey,
which is
go
very
on.
cool.
Get it,
Yeah,
get
but I could say it now because they said I could say it on the 14th after the festival and
Okay.
stuff, but I'm pretty sure
You can say it
That's
now.
so
Yeah.
cool.
It'll air
yeah,
after.
but yeah. So I was just like, whoa, this is crazy because like I didn't win the other one. I got honorable mention for it and stuff, and which was also still cool, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
but like to actually win for Best Actress of like the whole festival was like pretty insane, honestly. But so yeah, I'm super excited for that. And then Patsy's actually screening in San Francisco this weekend. So
Right.
I'll be there for the screening because we're trying to get it Oscar nominated. So it's like going through the process of you have to like do it for you have to like screen it for 7 days in one of the approved cities at an approved theater.
Los
and
Angeles,
stuff.
New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I do know
Chicago
this.
also.
I do
And
know
so it was they liked my stuff in San Francisco. So I just like went with that theater and everything. And then so I'm going to do like the filmmaker Q&A and everything, but it's also happening at the same time as the film festival in Tampa. And I was a little bummed that I couldn't go to that one because I would have actually gotten to accept an award for that.
Yes.
But it's okay. I told them just to mail it to me. So
That's dope.
So
Man, okay.
cool.
So now I told you, eventually she's going to be like, I don't know, Roderick.
No.
Too big for Roderick.
Oh my gosh.
And I won't even be mad. I'll be like, girl, do the damn thing.
No, I
Do it, homie. But yeah, this is so cool. But now I gotta talk to you about Fringe because you and I've told you I want to go.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to do the one. I just want to go to Australian State, do the whole thing for the 6 months.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a go.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
we're gonna play. We've been talking about it. And we're plotting it. Queensland, Perth. We're gonna do the whole thing.
That's crazy.
But you got to talk to me about this. What made you go, hey, I'm taking the one woman show to?
Yeah.
Is it Glastonbury or Edinburgh? Where are you? at?
Edinburgh. Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Yeah. So it's the biggest fringe festival in
Right.
the world. So there was another comedian that I knew that went to the fringe like for the last 2 years, and he was kind of posting his whole journey on Facebook. I didn't know anything about it at the time, and I was just like, this seems kind of cool. And then so I started looking into it, and I was just like, oh, like I still didn't know too much about it, but literally recently found out that like Baby Reindeer was actually made because of the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yes.
Fleabag was made because of Edinburgh
Yep.
Fringe. Nanette from Hannah Gadsby was
Right.
workshopped at the Fringe too. A lot of like really big, like some big shows like have come because of the solo shows that were developed at the Fringe. And we got my now no longer here publicist sent me a list of all the production companies that are going to be at the Fringe this year. And then some of them like Paramount, Netflix, like, and you have their emails of the people who are actually there to scout shows. And then so it's still on my to-do list to like pitch my show to these people. But you also have these like really big theaters in New York and LA, like the theater directors that are coming to try to fill up the shows for their next calendar year season. So it's like, it's a huge thing to get opportunities and to network and to maybe like have something happen to your show or be able to tour it and stuff. Because my goal in 2025 is to tour this show, the Help My Vagina is Trying to Kill Me show, to different colleges and also like smaller little indie theaters like around the US. And especially like I want to try to target like more disadvantaged communities that could maybe use like these kind of stories and resources going forward.
Start some dialogues in some communities that need it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's my goal of, you know, doing the live taping here in Austin, that I'm trying to fill as many butts into seats. I want to sell it out. And I'm already halfway there right now. So I'm just like, I have a few more weeks to try to sell out the show. And
you know, I'm going to share your story anyway on Instagram. I always do. I'll be trying to hook up my homie because she be doing some dope stuff. And I'll be like, I love seeing my friends win. So that's always cool to see that. So, but I've always heard that Edinburgh's where you go to get the critics. Australia's where you go to get paid.
Oh.
Because I had a buddy went there and he made $30K in a month.
Fuck.
Yeah, $30K US. He brought back 30. He said after that paid for street teams and ticketed everything and paid everybody.
That sounds about right. Because for me, if I end up actually selling out every show, and I rented a pretty small theater there, I would be getting back like 15,000 or something, 15,000 pounds, which then translates
back in the US and it's
to the US, and then. But it's like, I will say, like, these fringe festivals are super expensive. I basically, I have a sponsor basically paying for my whole entire trip to go. Yeah. And shout out to Deborah. She's amazing. And otherwise I would have probably had to take on a second job just to afford it. So.
Whew, all right. Yeah. I need to know this. So one day when I disappear, y'all know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm over in Australia trying to get me a little Australia mama and get my comedy done.
Yeah.
All right. So before you get out of here, give us all the ways they can contact you. How can we find you online?
Yeah. So you could follow my personal Instagram page, which is just Yola J. Liu, or you could also follow my solo show page, which is just Help My Vagina is Trying to Kill Me, all one word, no like parenthesis, nothing. And I also have a website called Help My Vagina is Trying to Kill Me, where you could use that to like book me for the solo show. And I also have my own personal website, which is yolalucomedy.com.
Also, Patsy has an Instagram page too, right?
Patsy does have an Instagram page. It's Patsy Short Film.
Yeah, I'm a publicist in my. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your story. And
thanks
just,
so much.
Just being vulnerable with us and allowing us to hear that story. That was amazing. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
Always. I
was getting
Yola.
Shivers. Like 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is something.
But dude, Yola is so, I will say this right now. Follow her Instagram. But she is so real all the time about who she is. And that's so refreshing to me because a lot of times I feel like people are scared to show their real you and talk about their failures. But I think I learn more from you and how to persevere than I do. And like, oh, your success. And we all see the success. I want to know, how did you survive long enough to get to that?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, because I think that's going to help a lot of people. What do we got to do? I know we got to do all the things. You got to like. If you like the video, please put those. We need those likes. We need all the likes, because I'm tired of people thinking I was the dad on the Fresh Prince. So please like and learn who I am. Share your comments with us. Reach out to us.
sure.
Jimmy, how do we find you again on Instagram?
Jimmy.Moynihan.
Please go follow that man and send us questions and we'll point you wherever. If you love the video, please share it with people that you think need to see. I'm actually going to request, if you went through a miscarriage or you know someone that did, please share this episode with them, because I feel like we need to start these dialogues about these things that we're being quiet about and let people know that they're not alone. Also, subscribe to the Creek in the Cave Studio YouTube channel, where we're on there, and we'll have links under the video about how to get a hold of all of us. Also, another shout out to my boy Justin. You're the man behind the scenes. You sit back there, you're so quiet, but man, dude, you make the magic happen, and you make me look good in 4K. So I always love you for that. But Yola, thank you once again. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
And when you blow up and you're big and you find out, hey, there's some black guy here that looks like the dad on the Fresh Prince that says he's in love with you. Just know, oh, that's my boy Roger. Get him a ticket.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
All right, y'all. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll be back again next week. We got this is the first time, thanks to this man, Jimmy. I'm gonna give you a shout out. Jimmy told a bunch of people what we were doing, and we shared it with a bunch of people. Kind of like we sent the episode out, and there's some guests that want to be on this show that has shocked me and him.
People are excited
lining
about
up
it.
to be on here. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have some real conversations coming to y'all in the next couple of weeks with some comedians, and it just. Thank y'all for the love and the support.
Yes, thank you.
If you don't know it, we love you and you appreciate it. Peace.
I have problems.